generations beyond counting, a promise lingered in the air like an unfinished song. It began in the earliest chapters of human memory, when harmony shattered in the garden and the world learned the weight of shame, fear, and separation. In that moment of ruin, when humanity hid among the trees and the ground itself felt cursed, God spoke words that would echo through centuries. A child would come, born of a woman, one who would confront the ancient deceiver, one who would crush the serpent's head even as his own heel would be struck. From that day forward, history leaned forward in anticipation. Time marched on. Families grew into tribes. Tribes became nations. Nations rose, conquered, and vanished into dust. Yet the promise refused to die. It passed from mouth to mouth, scroll to scroll, heart to heart. Abraham heard whispers of descendants as numerous as the stars. Jacob dreamed of a ruler rising from his line. Moses spoke of a prophet greater than himself. David sang of a king whose throne would endure forever. Isaiah saw a suffering servant, wounded for the sins of many. Micah pinpointed a birthplace so small it barely registered on a map. Daniel envisioned a kingdom no empire could overthrow. Malachi foretold a voice crying out, preparing the way. Each prophecy was a fragment, a note in a larger symphony. But as centuries turned into millennia, the silence grew heavy. Foreign boots marched across sacred land. Empires treated Israel like a chessboard. First Egypt, then Assyria. Babylon burned the temple and dragged people into exile. Persia allowed a return, but not freedom. Greece reshaped culture. Rome perfected oppression. By the time Roman banners cast long shadows over Jerusalem, hope felt fragile. The people remembered the stories, but they lived under occupation. Taxes drained them. Soldiers humiliated them. The priesthood, once meant to be holy, had become entangled with politics and power. God felt distant. Heaven felt quiet. Where was the promised one? Where was the king who would restore glory? Where was the deliverer who would break chains and silence enemies? Many expected a warrior, a general, a revolutionary who would bleed Rome dry and crown Israel again. They imagined iron swords and marching armies. They imagined thunder. What they did not imagine was silence. And yet, when the moment finally came, it came without spectacle. Not in a palace, not in a capital, not with banners or trumpets. God chose obscurity. In the hills of Galilee, far from centers of influence, lay a town so insignificant it inspired mockery. Nazareth, a place people passed through without noticing, a place associated with nothing remarkable. And in that place lived a young girl. She was not famous, not wealthy, not powerful. Her name was Mary. She lived an ordinary life, filled with ordinary rhythms, fetching water, preparing meals, folding garments. Her future appeared predictable: marriage, children, quiet faithfulness. She was betrothed to a man named Joseph, a craftsman who worked with his hands. He carried royal blood in his veins, a descendant of David himself, but centuries had eroded the crown into calluses. The lineage remained, the throne did not. Mary was young, likely still in her early teens by modern standards, yet considered a woman by the customs of her time. Betrothal was not casual, it was binding, legally recognized. Breaking it required divorce. Honor was fragile. Reputation was everything. And it was into this unremarkable life that eternity stepped. One moment she was alone, the next she was not. Light filled the space, not sunlight, not fire, something otherworldly. The presence was overwhelming, not merely visible, but heavy, as though reality itself had thickened. An angel stood before her, not a gentle figure from children's illustrations, but a messenger forged for divine announcements. Gabriel, the same being who once stood before Daniel to unravel visions of kingdoms and time. Power radiated from him, restrained but unmistakable. Mary's heart raced, fear seized her. Then he spoke. She was addressed not by status, but by grace. She was called favored. The words unsettled her. Favor from God was not a casual thing. Throughout history, it often came wrapped in trials, exile, or suffering. She tried to understand what this greeting meant, why heaven's attention had found her. Sensing her fear, the angel spoke again, steady and deliberate. She was told not to be afraid. She was told that God had chosen her. And then came words that bent reality. She would conceive. She would bear a son. She would name him Jesus. This child would not simply be significant, he would be great. He would be called Son of the Most High. He would inherit David's throne. He would reign without end. This was not metaphor, not poetry. This was the promise. Standing in front of a teenage girl from an overlooked town. The weight of it was staggering. Mary did not respond with disbelief. She did not laugh. She did not accuse the angel of madness. Instead, she asked a question rooted in reason. How could this be? She knew herself. She knew her body. She knew she had never been with a man. Her question was not defiance, but wonder seeking understanding. The answer shattered every category she knew. This would not happen through human effort. The Spirit of God would act. The same divine presence that hovered over chaotic waters at the dawn of creation would overshadow her. Life would begin not through desire, but through divine initiative. The child would be holy. The child would be God's own son. The infinite would enter the finite. The eternal would step into time. The Creator would accept the limitations of flesh. To strengthen her trust, she was given a sign. A relative, long thought barren, well past bearing years, was already carrying life. What humans called impossible, God had already begun. Nothing would be beyond him. And in that moment, history held its breath. Mary could have refused. She could have asked for another, older, stronger, safer. Instead, she surrendered her future. She named herself a servant. She accepted the word spoken over her life. With that choice, everything changed. She agreed to misunderstanding, to whispers, to raised eyebrows, to danger, to pain. She agreed to carry not just a child, but a destiny that would pierce her heart. Heaven had asked, earth had answered. Not with power, not with resistance, but with obedience. Soon after, Mary left Nazareth. She traveled south through hills and valleys to the home of her relative Elizabeth. Perhaps she needed reassurance. Perhaps she needed refuge. Perhaps she needed someone who would understand the strange intersection of fear and joy now growing inside her. When she arrived and spoke, something unseen responded. The unborn child in Elizabeth's womb stirred violently, leaping as if to recognize a presence older than time. Elizabeth herself was filled with divine insight. Words poured from her that she could not have known naturally. Mary was blessed. Her child was blessed. Her faith was honored. Elizabeth recognized what the world could not yet see. The Lord had come, carried quietly within a young girl. Mary responded not with pride, but with praise. Her words rose like a hymn, exalting God's faithfulness. She spoke of humility lifted and arrogance humbled, of hungry filled and the powerful scattered,
of mercy remembered across generations. This was not the song of a passive girl. It was the declaration of someone who understood that God was overturning the world's values. Mary remained there for months, 2 women, 2 impossible pregnancies, 2 threads woven into one divine plan. Then she returned home, and waiting for her was a silence more terrifying than angelic light. Joseph noticed. He didn't need explanations. The evidence was undeniable. The woman he loved was pregnant, and he knew he was not the father. Shock came to grief. Grief wrestled with righteousness. He was a just man. He would not expose her to public disgrace or violence, yet the law demanded action. He chose mercy. He
decided to release her quietly, sparing her life and dignity as much as possible. But before he could act, God spoke again. This time, not through light, but through a dream. Joseph was addressed not as a craftsman, but as a son of David. The promise passed through his lineage too. He was told not to fear. What had happened was not betrayal, but miracle. The child was from God. Joseph was given a role. He would name the child. He would protect him. He would raise the one who would save people from their sins. When Joseph woke, he obeyed. No debate, no delay. He took Mary as his wife. He accepted misunderstanding. He chose trust over reputation. In doing so, he stepped into the quiet heroism of obedience. The stage was set. The promise was moving toward fulfillment, and the world had no idea. The story of Bethlehem continues wherever humility replaces pride, wherever compassion confronts cruelty, wherever faith chooses obedience over safety. The child in the manger grew into a man who would teach with authority, heal without discrimination, confront hypocrisy, and ultimately offer his life. But that future was already present in the cradle. The way he was born revealed how he would live and how he would save. The story does not end in the stable. It begins there. The birth of Jesus stands as the hinge of history, the moment when eternity intersected with time and quietly altered the course of the world. Everything before it leaned forward in expectation. Everything after it echoes with consequence. Glory to God in the highest, and peace to those who receive it. If this story has stirred something in you, consider joining us by subscribing to the channel. These videos take time, care, and prayer to create, and your support helps us continue sharing stories that explore faith, meaning, and truth. You can also support the mission by checking out our shop or becoming a channel member. Thank you for being part of this journey.